Hey, what's going on, everyone? And thanks for joining us again for another Rethink Solutions. Today, we live a Black Mirror reality. The EctoLife Artificial Womb Facility is a concept proposed by Berlin-based producer, filmmaker, and science communicator Hashim Al-Ghali. It is a controversial new way of being pregnant, with the baby growing in an idealized but completely non-human environment. Transparent growth pods, arranged by their hundreds in human baby farming operations. The concept is based on the current state of fertility research. It is designed to start a conversation and make an argument for a new model of parenthood that Al-Ghali believes will be possible within years and widespread within decades. It aims to replicate the ideal gestation conditions in a temperature-controlled, infection-free womb with a view. An artificial umbilical cord can provide oxygen and nutrition as the tot floats in artificial amniotic fluid, continually refreshed with precisely tailored hormones, antibodies, and growth factors. Whoa. Now, with this, I see three major problems that we'll need to find solutions to. First, while there's a huge benefit to this, where does it lead? I find ourselves facing the Matrix wall of pods that you see in the Matrix movies, and how does this not turn into baby farms? Secondly, it desensitizes society from natural sex. You've got people like the Kardashians or Beyonce that want to preserve their sexy physique by getting surrogates to carry their babies for them. And thirdly, it gives Bill Gates exactly what he wants: decreased population. So again, while I see that there's a huge benefit to this, where does this lead? It should alarm people that we're losing the humanity of what it is to go through pregnancy and develop this life through infancy. You know, why can we live in a world where we understand how much socialization and physical touch has an effect on the human development, but then find no problem with growing? I get it. We were able to clone lambs in bags, but like, was it life? At what point is this like some Frankenstein experiment that dehumanizes what it is to be alive and to live this experience? There's so many philosophers that always said, you have never truly experienced life to its fullest and will get the fullest idealistic perspective without going through childbirth and raising a child. That it opens all, and ask anybody that's lived it, they'll be like, oh, your perspective's totally changed. It's a whole new thing. Well, how do you have that understanding that that has an effect, that holding your child as a baby has an effect, parents and mothers and fathers teaching the child how to speak, all those things have a major impact on them not becoming Jeffrey Dahmer and, killing raccoons in the backyard? Well, how can you then go ahead and totally disarm that from the process? Secondly, it desensitizes society from natural sex. We're seeing this currently happening, and now it's like the chic thing to just not have your own baby. And again, I totally support adoption. These types of things are great. In a world where we don't have enough parental homes to take care of children, I would more than advocate for parents that are just happy to take on supporting life. But let's not allow that road to lead us down a place where we lose the craving to actually bear these children ourselves. And as the people that are around us, celebrities and the ideologue gods that we look up to, are telling us that, oh, it's not cool and you're going to ruin your lady parts and everything. It's like, they've been doing that for thousands of years. No man is running away. It is something that is a narrative to curtail and manipulate you away from these types of behaviors, but it isn't a reality that truly people embrace. It's more of a psychosis that's pushed by celebrities. And thirdly, Bill Gates gets what he wants. To further develop that point, let's just look at him say it himself.
Now, I know you're asking yourself, where's the clip? It's a very short clip, but it took me hours to find it. I went through everything: Google, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok. It was unfindable. TikTok was able to allow me to narrow it down to specifically how to find it, who the interview was with and everything else, but it wouldn't have been the right framing to have for this video. So I couldn't use it, kept digging, was able to find it on the Holy Grail and where the Rethink Tank does the best, the new YouTube, BitChute.com. Head on over to BitChute. The only reason being, I've come to realize it being suppressed on everything, even through Twitter. Usually Twitter is where I get away with finding the things that YouTube and such suppress. But because there is such a suppression on this specific clip, I mean, try finding the interview with Dr. Sanjay Gupta from CNN and Bill Gates. You won't. So I have to refrain from including this, 3-second clip in the YouTube video here. I'm just saying. What that means is, if you head on over to the Rethink Tank's BitChute account, you'll be able to see this uncut and uncensored. Otherwise, just take our word for it and let's move on.
As Bill Gates makes it very clear, the goal of the elite is to decrease our population. And what better way to control it, monitor it, and turn that dial back than disarming all of us from doing it on our own in our own homes and making us go through walls of pods, and they can pick the genetics of exactly what they like and what they want, the things they want to push and support, and then the things they want to dial back. Ooh, and this gene tends to think a little too much. And then we're living in 1984. Anyway, John, what problems do you see as a result of these baby incubators?
Well, I see it as a result of worse problems, right? And there's definitely a problem with those baby incubators. And then why do we even need this in the first place? And I see more of a problem of a toxic environment that's messing with our hormones, the stuff in our lifestyle today with BPA, and then the BPA alternatives are being just as bad as that. And there's a lot of stuff like preservatives in food, and the preservatives in food itself messes with our hormones, and therefore I'm sure it wouldn't be surprising if less people are able to have and bear children, right? So it's a problem that was created by the same people and group of people that are giving the solution.
Truth bombs.
And it's eerily similar to like the traditional villain in all these movies where they're like, first I'm going to take away their freedoms, and then I'm going to charge them to get them back. First I'm going to take away their health, and then I'm going to have the only cure for the disease that I give them all. It's just like, I see it happening, and this is a solution that's being provided for a problem that was caused. And so I'm just kind of like, so you have that. Then you also have babies becoming expensive, and that's why this is even a viable solution that's even being considered. And then at the same time, what is a woman, right? Can anybody answer this question? What is a woman? Because now, if you have a machine doing that, and like for me growing up, the one of the biggest things that a guy cannot do, a male cannot do, is bear children. The physical body genetically is not designed to create a womb for a baby, right? And so I think it's one of those things where this solution of a baby farm, a robotic baby farm, is also supporting the idea of giving men who want to be women the ability to have kids, right? And so you're fueling that narrative, and you're destroying the, I think you call it the atomic family. And then also the last problem I see is people taking, let's just say, medication that is in a stabbing version of that medication that goes through your system and can be experimental, like a jab. Those have been shown to create infertility or produce more people that have just more issues, and infertility was one of the alarming things. So there's definitely research that backs that up. That's just one of the many things. So to kind of summarize my problems, or the problems that I see with this, is the issues that are causing this to even be an option on top of what Alex was saying.
No, it's a great point. And kind of there's a clear social war against nuclear family. And the thing that you pointed out for me that kind of alludes to this, or kind of foreshadows to an even scarier world where this leads to, in a world where you allow walls of pods to kind of dictate the fertility of your community, what's to stop them from only birthing male babies to prevent the creation of natural babies, right? So not only is it a war on the domestic nuclear family as we know it today, but if it evolves down the line to 50 years, 100 years from now, where we're totally, funneling our society through pods, I mean, what's to say, well, we got to make sure. I mean, you've seen the Rick and Morty episode of A World of Only Women, and then it was like, oh my God, here's a guy. And they did that to ensure that they could control the population, whatever.
Yeah.
So you pointed that out. I think that's another interesting thing to consider. But let's talk solutions. I've got 5 major solutions that I like to focus on here. 1, be conscious of all the natural side effects of our modern world causing infertility. 2, bear children. 3, speak out against all this nonsense. 4, beware of sending your DNA out to these companies. And 5, have large families. So firstly, you have to be conscious of all the unnatural side effects of our modern world. There are so many microplastics in the food that we eat currently that on average, Americans are consuming a credit card's worth of plastic a day. Think about that. And you're like, I don't chew hard plastic. No. I don't think you recognize that plastic is like a chemical. It's like a bunch of liquid chemicals, and they mix together to make this solid plastic. Well, guess what? It's a bunch of chemicals, liquids, so it can be condensed back to its natural state or deplete other plastics. Plastic can be in the form of a liquid. That's all I'm trying to get at. And so when you take your bowl of Panera broccoli cheddar soup to work and you put it in the microwave and then you microwave it, you are boiling out some of that microplastic that's getting in your soup and you're consuming it. And now, back to the statistic, credit cards worth of plastic are being consumed on average on a daily basis by Americans, and these microplastics are having an effect on semen count, specifically in men, and they are showing to have fertility issues with women. So,
did you just say semen count specifically in men? Yes.
They wouldn't be anywhere else.
Yes. Well, please keep this. Hey, you know what? Nowadays, that could be a viable.
You saw YouTube's new community guidelines. That gets us kicked out.
Oh, no.
Hell yeah. Anyway, it's a funny point, though. But it's found in many other places, too. Besides just the plastic, there's a lot of ways that we're carrying ourselves. Again, when you're having hormone-injected chicken nuggets handed out to you through a window, that has an impact on your hormone development, and that's having an impact on the society's fertility. Now, again, so be conscious of those types of things. As you learn about them, don't just read about it. Enact practices to get around them actually in your life. All right, how do I cut down on plastic usage? How do I cut down on unnecessary hormone injection into my food? Be conscious of your diet. Be conscious of what's going into your body. Again, the deodorants that you're putting on your arms with the aluminum, that's having an effect in your body. I'm rattling so much, it could go on forever. So, with a CVS receipt list of things that can have an impact on your fertility, you got to just try to keep your ear to the ground, be aware of them, and learn from them as you become aware. Secondly, you have to bear children. I know that's easier said, this is well, duh, but no, seriously, try your best. I have to acknowledge something that I wanted to point out at the beginning as we're trying to say these are problems. I did acknowledge that there's a lot of medical benefits to these. It brings families together that otherwise wouldn't naturally happen, and it kind of helps facilitate those things. As somebody that would be arguably a test tube baby, my sister and I had to have the assistance of medical intervention, and it got us to be here and loud and annoy you on YouTube. So thank goodness for those types of things. But I acknowledge that they have an amazing impact in bringing families together. But also, you should try to make it happen as naturally as possible. And where it doesn't, look at my favorite cousin. You can always go and adopt and become a part and bring someone else that otherwise needs the help and assistance and guidance and parental support. Bring them in and help. I don't know, just build your family into stronger ways. Aside from that, what you need to do is speak out against this type of nonsense. When you start seeing your world slowly develop into the Matrix, as the Matrix tells you this is our future, Did you ever question how we got there? It's because we just kept biting our tongue. As you see ridiculousness pop up, address it and acknowledge it head on. And then, fourthly, beware of sending out your DNA. We all love knowing that I'm 3% Cherokee because I sent my DNA to 23andMe, but in reality, that does nothing for you but besides give your DNA to a third company corporation that can do with it as they will. And guess what? Who knows what they're going to do with those incubators? We want to live in a world where they're just helping out infertile parents, but what if they're creating more of yous? And you know what? They're tweaking it just a little bit, so now they're coming out like Captain America, and they're making a super soldiers of you, Bill, sitting there, listen to us. How wild would that be? So be conscious of where you're sending your DNA. How important is that information? How about you just ask your grandma, where your life comes from, and hopefully you guys have done a good enough job passing on the baton and keeping your family lineage informed. Otherwise, I don't think the 23andMe is going to illuminate that much more than what you already got. And fifthly, finally, have large families. Do what you can to build large families. We're living in a world, I come from a family of just two children, but you know what? At the same time, I think we're seeing it here. The major needs and impacts of having a large community. In a world where society goes to the wind, you got to be able to have yourself a little clan that can protect itself, support each other, and it can only benefit you more. Do not get caught up in the nonsensical points, as John pointed out, that it's too expensive. You'll find a way. The world will find its way. You will be able to support them. Do not get caught up in the noise. John, what solutions you got for us?
All right. I love your solutions. I'm just going to scratch all mine, and then we can just call it a day. No. I like how you mentioned some of the stuff that I was bringing up, which was just be conscious of the unnatural side effects of the modern world, which I was talking about the actual things, right? And I wanted to kind of piggyback off of that, where my solution was really take care of your health and prevent the need for incubators. Link up with a midwife or OBGYN for emergency purposes only, and one of those people that champion both sides of the relationship, the male and the female side, to kind of make the decisions and not just tell them what to do. Adopt and just say no and save money to the incubators, right? So going back to taking care of your health, here are some solutions for options, right? So one, avoid unnecessary experimental medication. I think you know what I mean. Stabby stab. Two, use more glass and stainless steel or even cast iron tools and stuff to cook your food, and cook at home. Just like learn how to cook. Get back to nature. It's about a fun fact a friend of mine told me. More than 90% of our nutrients is and can be absorbed in the air. So think of where you're breathing and how you're breathing, through your mouth or through your nose. If you're having health issues, just go out in nature, go to a mountain, and then so the other solution is have a midwife versus an OBGYN, and if you must, have an OBGYN for emergency use, so that you can use the tools that they have in the facilities to kind of like find out if something really bad's going on. But go that holistic approach to maintenance. Lastly, say no and save money. Say no to the incubators. Say no to the matrix future of just seeing your baby in some weird plastic or glass tube next to your bed. It's just weird. And you think having your own baby is expensive? It gets cheaper when you get more health-related solutions in there too. Remember, and the hospital costs a lot of money. I'm not saying no to hospital, and I'm not a medical doctor or licensed anything like that. I'm just showing my opinion from what I've seen. So say no to mechanized use of birthing babies. Like, technology is going to take some time to get to where it's more affordable than it is to birthing. And then there's just a slew of reasons why, that we just spoke on, you shouldn't even do it in the first place. And that's my spiel.
There we go. All right, guys, if we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support this show is share this episode. Take that link, throw it on your Facebook, text it to your friends. If you liked it, that means someone you know definitely did too. So like I said, the best thing you can do to support this show is just share that link. Otherwise, like it, subscribe, do the other things. You can catch all of our content at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. And you can catch myself on my Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, all those things at Grgat57. John, where can they find you?
NewAgeHuman.com. My social media is there. Just look up look up social media. Look up New Age Human. On my Instagram is Jon Astacio, JONASTACIO, and Twitter's the same thing, Jon Astacio, Jon ASTACIO. You can figure it out. Just go to the website NewAgeHuman.com and it'll all be there.
Awesome. Otherwise, guys, we'll catch you next week. Peace.